I normally say that my story is a very typical African story, a very typical Kenyan story. So I'm very careful about me ensuring that we understand that this is something that is happening, and it's something that is happening because we've allowed it. So many people have allowed it to exist.
I was told not to ask any question. I was warned that the girls before who asked many questions left the house and never came back.
I just thought that there were so many people that had gone through what I had gone through and didn't even know the name of what they had gone through.
I discovered that what had happened to me was trafficking.
My name is Matilde Simas, and I am a humanitarian photojournalist, basically a visual storyteller. And right now I am in Kenya. So far, I've been here for about 2 weeks, going to different locations with HAART Kenya, photographing their workshops, their day-to-day goings, shooting survival stories, and really just learning about human trafficking. It's such a nightmare for someone to be lured into human trafficking, and how easy people are lured into human trafficking is just very scary.
HAART Kenya is an organization that works entirely on stopping or eradicating human trafficking in Kenya, or you could say Eastern Africa. Kenya is quite known to be like a hub for trafficking in East Africa. You see, every country in Africa is affected by the problem, but there are some countries that are somehow, the problem is bigger. That's South Africa, definitely. Often we are misunderstood. The idea of human trafficking is still misunderstood. And sometimes we can't help victims because like a person who's supposed to assist us or partner with us is not getting the idea what is that all about.
There are 3 specific elements when we talk about human trafficking. So first, you have an element of movement of the victim, okay? So you're recruiting the victim or moving it from one place to another. And then you have the second element, which is the means that you're using, threats or abuse of power. And then you have a third element, which is the intention that you have. And the intention is to exploit this person. Could be sexual exploitation, could be child forced labor. There are many forms of exploitation. When you satisfy these 3 elements, you're basically committing the crime of human trafficking.
Trafficking initially choose to be drugs, arms, and then trafficking. It comes to the illegal businesses in the world that are leading. But currently it is drugs and then human trafficking, which means the numbers are growing by the day. And so it is a very lucrative business, which is making lots of millions for people. And the risk of being caught is this minimal.
There have been situations where someone is living in an apartment and the neighbor is bringing in girls in the middle of the night, and you can see they're very young girls, and he's taking them away. By morning they've disappeared and you don't ask anything. Do you understand? So when you call me and tell me what can I do about human trafficking, it is happening right next to you.
My name is Sophie Otiende, and like I say, I'm called many things, but I like calling myself a teacher, a feminist, and a survivor advocate. I am a survivor advocate because of an experience that I went through, so I'm a survivor of trafficking. And I found out that more than 10 years after the experience, and that's why I became very passionate about this issue. And that experience began, I say, a whole 9 or almost 1 year of the most painful part of my life, because I didn't go to school. My uncle and his family made me work for them as a house help. I took care of my cousins. I'm the one who cooked for them, I watched for them. I was physically abused almost every single day, sexually abused in the house almost every single day. And I thought about suicide so many times. I fell sick and no one took me to hospital. At some point, I even remember just not even being able to cry because it was so painful. I was literally treated as a stranger in a house of people who were supposed to be related to me.
I used to work as a cleaner. I go to people's houses, I cleaned their houses, I washed their clothes, but it was not enough because I wanted money to educate my children and save for my son's education. And so I went to look for work with my friend. We just found ourselves in front of a big house and an interview was done to me. I was taken to another room where I met other girls. Some even looked like they could be my daughter. Men were coming in, mostly white men and Arabs. They could come in anytime. They could pick anybody they would want. They use you. I thought about my children. I prayed day in, day out that one day I would leave this place. I cannot tell anybody. I cannot tell my relatives. I cannot tell my children that all I wanted to look for was money. Money to better my children's future. But all I have now is HIV.
What we offer at HAART is we offer protection to victims, which is legal protection, therapy, counseling, shelter for those who need shelter, psychosocial support and education, prevention through awareness workshops, training the first respondents, then police and cooperation, doing research, working with different organizations, and finally trying to assist in prosecution, trying to help prosecutors and police to prosecute traffickers.
People present with a whole variety of symptoms after trafficking experience. A lot of people present with typical symptoms of PTSD. Others present with a lot of anger, a lot of rage, major depressive disorder. Some people are just really, really sad and it's not clinical, but we deal with a whole range of symptoms. I work with our victims. We work with children and adults. After they get rescued, we see them once, we do a mental status examination, and we try and make sure that they're somewhat stable. After that point, we see who needs further treatment, and those that do, then we see in further therapy sessions. We started the shelter in December, and since then, our activities at the shelter have really progressed. In the beginning, it was setting up the structures and only really doing individual therapy sessions. Now we have weekly group therapy, and we have artists coming in and storytelling sessions. And I think it's really great because it's a holistic approach to healing.
In my work at HAART, basically I do create awareness. And so I'm involved with dealing with people from all over. So I get to travel more or less all over the country, creating awareness to the young people in schools. We get to work with adults in their 50s, the elderly people. And so all we do is just try and inform people on what is human trafficking, which are their rights, and then what can they be able to do to prevent themselves from being trafficked. And I think something which I was able to do with the ladies today was just asking them what is wrong with child marriages, because if they don't identify, then they won't think it is something wrong that is happening. Just making them understand, why is this not okay? Why should we change? Why should we stop practicing whatever we are practicing currently?
Sometimes you might try to fight something that you're not fully informed about. Information is there, but it starts with your neighbor. Who is your neighbor? Because if I deal with my environment, you deal with your environment, human trafficking will die, like, completely.
I do consider myself a humanitarian photographer, and I love people, very interested in people and how they live their lives, and trust is a big thing. And so being told that I'm empowering the survivors makes my heart really sing. There's no bigger joy in the world than making especially a woman feel empowered, making them feel courageous and good about telling their story. One of the survivors did talk to me about how it was the first time that she felt that she had really told her story.
A lot of people ask me why I get into this field, and I think the main thing is that people are so amazingly resilient. And so every day I'm surprised by how resilient people are and the strengths people have that they don't even realize that they have in the moment.
I want to thank HAART so much. So much. They have listened to me. They have consoled me. I am now strong. I do what I do because I know that there are people who are going through that. And every other survivor that has gone through what I've gone through, I just want them to know that there are people who care. There are people like us who believe in them and know that it's possible to come out. And it's possible to be happy, you know, after going through everything that you've gone through. It's possible to be happy. It's possible to live a full life, you know. I've lived a full life after the experience. And all survivors should be able to get that chance.